For over a year, people have been coming for Malika Andrews. For over a year, I see all over the internet people breaking down Malika Andrews' life, her comments, her stories, her thoughts, her body language, and it's all black men.
Has anyone noticed how good Malika Andrews is at this? She quite literally will say, yeah, we're about to talk about this prospect, who, by the way, was most famous for being indicted in a capital murder of this person 7 years ago. She does this a lot. Look,
Miller,
listen to this.
Bobby, I want to talk to you a little bit more about Brandon Miller. His name did surface in court testimony involving a case where his former teammate and another man, they've been indicted for capital murder in the fatal shooting of 23-year-old Jamia Harris in January. The University of Alabama has described Miller as a cooperating witness. How is this factoring, if at all, into how teams are evaluating him?
And they've all determined for some reason that Malika Andrews doesn't like black men.
Right.
Welcome to Male Reality Lessons, where topics are reviewed and discussed as iron sharpens iron. Greetings. Before we step into today's video, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Male Reality Lessons. We're a new channel and we're trying to grow. On today's episode, we're going to address Mr. Mark Lamont Hill, who, whether it's passive aggressively or he's totally oblivious, doesn't understand why people are providing a lot of pushback on how Miss Malika Andrews is addressing various topics concerning black athletes, and it seems a tad bit biased.
So Des Bryant was calling out Malika Andrews for not yet commenting on Josh Giddey. Again, Josh Giddey is the white Australian-born NBA player for the Oklahoma City Thunder who is currently under investigation by the NBA for an alleged inappropriate relationship with an underage girl. The internet posted pictures of him with the girl, video of him with the girl. There are claims that he's having sex with this girl who was supposed to be 15 and he's, I think, 21 right now. This is the claim that's being made. And so they said, well, why hasn't Malika Andrews said anything? And they used that as evidence that she doesn't love black men, that she doesn't like black men, that she hasn't targeted for black men. They also pointed to the fact that, as Des Bryant did, that she, on draft day, mentioned that Brandon Miller was under investigation for allegedly being part of a crime, of potentially bringing a weapon to somebody in the commission of a crime. Here's the problem. Y'all have such hate for Malika Andrews that you are ignoring the facts. You say you don't like her because she mentioned Brandon Miller on draft day and his alleged problematic behavior. Malika Andrews is a reporter. Malika Andrews is a journalist. If somebody is being drafted in the NBA lottery, if you're the number 1, number 2, number 10, number 15 pick in the NBA draft, and there's a circulating allegation that you may have been participating in a crime, you have to cover that. That story needs to be covered. I'm going to say that again. If you are about to be drafted into the NBA as a lottery pick, an elite level player, and you are being connected to a capital murder case where you're not just, you don't just know somebody, right, who's involved in a capital murder case, you're being accused of maybe bringing the weapon. If that's the case, how do you not mention that on draft day?
Sir, so here's the problem with your logic. There's a report, an official report from ABC News, that he was absolved of all wrongdoing well before draft night. So why is this even relevant?
Swirling around Alabama's freshman basketball sensation Brandon Miller. He's accused of delivering a gun to a former teammate who is now under arrest for murder. Miller has not been charged, and today he was greeted with cheers from the home crowd. Here's ABC's Ellen Lopez.
Miller sneaks down court.
Tonight, Alabama basketball star Brandon Miller hitting the court against Arkansas amid questions about a fatal shooting. The freshman and top NBA draft pick prospect at the center of the controversy applauded today. but booed earlier this week as calls to take him off the court grow.
There are many who think, hey, Brandon has done nothing wrong here. But then there are those others who say, hey, it doesn't matter if he was firing a weapon or not. He should be punished.
According to ESPN, the 6'9" player was asked by then teammate Darius Miles to bring him his gun, which officials say was used in the killing of 23-year-old Jamea Harris. Miles was removed from the team and arrested along with another man, both now facing capital murder charges. Both of their attorneys have either not responded to our request for comments or have declined to do so. Miller has not been charged with any crime. The Crimson Tide stating in part that it, quote, continues to cooperate fully with law enforcement in the ongoing investigation and that Miller is not considered a suspect in this case, only a cooperative witness.
We feel like we've done the right thing in this case. We're using this as an opportunity to educate our players on stuff that hopefully will help them for the rest of their lives.
And with the victim's mother tells us she wants everyone involved to be held accountable. Miller's attorney says that the player never touched the gun or even saw it.
How could I not mention? I don't care if you black, white, red, or yellow. If it was a white corn husker from Iowa or Nebraska, and he was the number one quarterback or defensive end in the NFL draft, and he was tied to a lynching, would you not want me to mention it and not ruin his big day? No, you have to mention it. It would be professional malpractice for Malika Andrews not to have mentioned it. So why are y'all so uniquely mad at Malika Andrews?
Well, sir, how about some of these examples? Case in point, Joe Mazzulla.
Woj, you reported that Joe Mazzulla will be the interim head coach here. You can see his resume on your screen. He's been a Celtics assistant coach the last 3 seasons after spending the previous 3 seasons at Fairmount State. And he played for West Virginia between 2006 and 2011, and now could become the NBA's youngest head coach at 34 years old. And we'd be remiss not to also mention that Mazzulla was arrested twice at West Virginia, once in 2008 for underage drinking and aggravated assault. He pled guilty, paid a fine, and then again in 2009 for domestic battery after an incident at Morgantown Bar. The domestic battery case never went to trial. It was settled in August of 2009. He paid a $100 fine and court costs, plus had to do 40 hours of community service. Now, that was 13 years ago. He settled and paid both fines.
Again, I asked, this is relevant why? But yet, let's keep going.
Malika Andrews is a colleague of mine. There's no question about that. We got into our little tussle on the air after the Ime Udoka situation, or as that was brewing. She came at me in a certain way. I checked the situation the way I felt it needed to be checked.
And lastly, the most egregious one, in my opinion, is this incident.
Shifting gears. Former Michigan State star Adrian Payne was shot and killed in Orlando, Florida, early Monday morning, the Orange County Sheriff's Office said. And Payne was the 15th pick by the Atlanta Hawks in 2014, played 4 seasons in the NBA with multiple teams. In 2018, he was waived by the Magic after he was named in a report by ESPN's Outside the Lines that he'd been involved in an alleged sexual assault at Michigan State in 2010. No charges were filed in that case. Prior to playing in the NBA, Payne was a member of the All Big Ten second team in 2 of his 4 seasons with Michigan State.
So I'm gonna close this video out by saying this. Maybe you can't see it, but it's pretty plain to everyone else in the general public, as well as all the podcasters, current and past athletes, as well as other YouTubers that report on sports or other elements within the black community. Now, you can continue to do your tap dancing around it, but it's very plain, whether it's her own accord or by her handlers. But if she has autonomy, she can pick and choose whether she deep dives into the fact that a black man should not be persecuted, especially if there's one that actually lost his life in the commission of protecting another black woman that looks like her. Well, more importantly, I want to hear from my followers and the general public on this conversation. Do you think Malika Andrews is biased towards African American men in sports? As always, I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Male Reality Lessons. Take an opportunity to watch other videos here on the channel. And have a good day.